Hello and welcome to another how-to video. My name is Ditech, CTO DVS. I've got the beanie cap to prove it. Unfortunately, I'm not in the office doing this video. The reason why is we've just come back from a fabulous trip to ISE 2023 in Barcelona. If you did see us there, congratulations. If you didn't, we are going next year, so look out for us there. We had a great time meeting suppliers, past, present, future, looking at the new technology. And if you've never been to ISE, wow, what a show. It is absolutely ginormous. So if you're into anything AV, anything AV, effectively, it's all there in one place. They do have elements of security there, and that seems to be growing. But everything from IT to AV to LED to LCD to projection to cables to bracketry and everything in between. It is absolutely phenomenal. So what a show. So you guys who put that show together, fantastic. We were there representing Hikvision LED. You saw an announcement last week, and there's going to be a lot more to come on that, on our LED involvement with Hikvision. Okay, so why am I making this video today? Well, over the past couple of weeks, it's become quite apparent that Hikvision have replaced the old network calculator tool that was very, very familiar to a lot of you. It's actually, if you can download it, most of the time it doesn't actually work anymore. They've moved over to a new all-in-one tool called HikTools Designer. And that is also for CCTV layout, thermal camera design tool. All of those things are all encapsulated into this one brand new HikTools Designer. So I thought I'd give you a bit of a run through, get it out there so it can upskill you guys. It's really important that you as engineers, sales, etc. learn how to use this tool, because you can really show the benefit of the technology overlaid professionally onto like a Google map image, and then really highlight the importance of coverage, VCA detection distances, thermal coverage. This tool is, you can spend hours on if you really want. I'm going to show you quite a brief overview, enough to get you into it, to get you started. I may, if the demand is there, give a much more detailed view, but it's really about the network storage and the CCTV camera and thermal layout and how you export that, because this is absolutely phenomenal. They have really taken it to the next level, in my opinion. It is a little bit different to before, so I think it does take a bit of getting used to, if I'm honest. Once you do know how to use it, I think it'll be fine, but I think this introduction is a good way to get you into it, or show you how to navigate around it for sure. So first thing you need to do is open up a web browser. Now, I use Firefox, Edge, use whatever browser you want. It really isn't any of my concern. Just type in this, HikTools Designer, and I have navigated to it before from this PC, so it's going to come up anyway. HikTools Designer, hit enter, and you can see this one here. I have already been visited this site many times. I've done some designs on it already, but for the purpose of this demonstration, click on HikTools Designer. Right. Apologies, I've got a really dry throat. First thing you want to do is click on this login. It'll take you to the login page. Now, if you're going to do a system design, you want to register. So first thing you need to do is create an account. Follow the process. It'll ask for a verification code. It'll email it to you, input it. So I'm not going to go through that process. It's a really generic sign-up process that you're used to in most websites. But once you've done that, it's the One Hike ID or email function. It allows you to use all of the functionality of the tool, save your projects, email them to you, edit them in the future. So it is definitely worthwhile you signing up. So I'm just going to log in using this one here, the one I signed up to before. And it'll log in. There we go, so logged in. Right. Top right hand corner under toolkit, and they will add to this toolkit. So as this tool develops and migrates more functions into it, you'll see the toolkit will have more and more functionality added in. If you simply want to use this for a storage and bandwidth calculator, which many of you do, this is super simple. Click on the storage and bandwidth calculator, and it's very familiar to the previous version. So I can add cameras. So if I want to create a 32 channel system, so it's really easy, or I could call it front door. I could really go to town on this. number of channels, 1, H.265. I don't use H.265 plus, it causes more problems than it fixes in my opinion. We're going to do 8 megapixel because that's quite generic these days. 20 frames a second, 6144 bit rate. And if I want to add another one, and I can call this gate, H.265, 8 megapixel, and so on and so forth. So you can just keep adding to this, and then I can actually add, say like yard, number of channels 6, H.265. They're going to be 4 megapixel, and they're going to be 15 frames a second. You get the idea, guys, yeah? Okay, once you filled it in all in and you've got your number of channels, the number of channels is the camera. So on this system, we'd have 8 cameras effectively. A couple of different ways you can look at this. So calculate the saving time. So if I put a 4 terabyte disk in, recording 24 hours a day, it'll record for about 15 days. If you want to know what storage to put in there to make it 30 days, click on calculate disk space, set saving time as day, and then put 31. 24 hours a day, around 60 terabytes. And that'll give, so 8 cameras at 8 megapixel, about 60 terabytes for 24 hours recording. But what you could do, in fact, you can see the mistake I've done there. It defaulted to week, got a day, about 9 terabytes effectively. I always add a little bit on, if you notice. I never quite go for the lower amount, I go for the higher amount. So apologies, I didn't realize it defaulted it. So that's one of the other little quirks on this tool. As you go through, I'll point out some of the quirks. It does default to week for some reason, even though I changed it today and calculated it. So just don't get cut out by that, because you'll be putting a lot of storage in there. And I'm tired, so I forgot that I'd even done that. But again, you could do weeks or you could do month. And if you wanted to do it for, say, 3 months, 24 terabyte. So it's quite simple to use. And then you can calculate the bandwidth. So the required bandwidth is about 24 meg on a network to sustain that. So quite nice, easy. It's very similar to the old tool that we've had for many, many years. Then if I want to, I can add more devices. I can clear the devices, or I can export the list. Now this is another quite little bug on this. It does export the list. So if I open this, just wait for it to catch up. Here's another little bug for you, which I've reported. So it gives you the channel name, the number of channels, the resolution, frame rate, and bit rate, but nowhere does it give you the total required storage. All the export does is give you the cameras that you added, the resolutions and bit rates, etc. But it doesn't give you the storage or the days. Now I've asked for that to be included, because if I want to export that either for my records or send to the customer, then it doesn't give everything that I'd want on there. But what most people do is use their favorite snipping tool. If you haven't got that snipping tool, I've added it by default. Just go into your Windows search, type in snipping tool. Oop. It should find it as an app there. I just right click and then pin to taskbar. I've already done that. So you can just do this, new. All these little handy tips I'm giving you. I've reported this one. Hopefully that'll be fixed quite quickly, and I can just send a screenshot of that to the customer for their records if I needed to or wanted to. So that's the storage and bandwidth calculator. That's very simple to use. Again, there is a couple little quirks on there. That's really, really simple, and that's the only one currently under the toolkit. Now, if I go back to the home page, there are some other tools here. Okay, so on the home page, you'll actually see some of the other tools they got in there. Brand new one is the storage selection tool. Again, you can just go into these. You can manage storage schedule, select cameras, add channels. So this is a little bit different, but if you manage the storage schedule, you can add in the resolution, video encoding, number of frames, number of days, and then you can actually apply that across, all these details here, and it'll build up a storage schedule, and you can export that as well. Like, not really. I haven't used it yet, as in I don't know where I'd use it from a customer perspective, but it does allow you to, like, you can custom create one. So if I go, say, DVS, and I want to record 31 days, and I only want to record between 8 and half 4, H.265, let's say 4 megapixel, 20 frames a second, and then capture schedule. I'm not going to do capture schedule, save. So you can actually basically make up storage schedules and then storage product recommendation. So I can get selected cameras, or add channel, sorry, add DVS. Let's call it 16 channels, DVS, 92 bandwidths, and that much storage. Next, then it'll recommend NVR, hybrid town, or cluster storage. So do I want PoE? Yes. I can only use an NVR, and I can only use a 16 channel, of course. Apologies. And then from here, there you go. So these are all the NVRs which are capable of doing that. It takes a little bit of time to populate it, but I could choose a 7616 NI standard, select that, and I could add in, if I wanted to split the recorders, maybe I wanted 2 on 2, 2 on another. You can see how much this, like how this sort of builds it all up. Add to list. And there's my list there. And then I can view quote. And it tells you. So this is the next part. We've got to get the pricing done, but there is going to be a way to import pricing. So you can actually put your pricing in there and export it, and it gives you like a price list. But let's just call it, I don't know, 500 quid. It's done there. Select notes, 2 times units to be installed in CCTV rack. 8 channels on each NVR. Help if I can spell. Select the validity period. Let's just say a week. Customer information, DVS. So you can really add as much as you want in here. Quote 001. Contact email. Done. Map overview, installation report. So you can add a map, a Google map, and an installation report. So you can add all of the detail in there as much as you want. Then you can just export it. So quote data sheet, click on export. I gotta save it. Yeah, and this is why you need to log in and register. Export. So it's exporting all of these. You can see there's the quote there, given the price. And if I zoom in, and you can print that. Now normally that is clear. I'm not sure why it's not as clear. It's normally very eligible, so I'm not sure why it's doing that right now. So I'll have to pick that up. And then if I look at the downloads, data files there, so spec sheets, there's the report there, and this is the Excel version. There you go. So it is, when you do it in Excel, it's legible. I'm not sure why. It normally is legible on the export, but you can. Cool, right? So that's one way of doing this. So you can actually do that for a customer, put your custom pricing in there, put your notes in there, export it, send the data sheet. So you can actually, if you use this tool correctly, you can do the full end-to-end on there, and that's the storage selection. That's new. CCTV selection I'm going to come back to now, because that's your standard cameras and thermal overlaid onto a map. Alarm selection, again, depends on the AX Pro hybrid or wired. Depending on the stuff you're doing, you can just work through this. Now, not all of the equipment is available right now, but if I did it for a house, intrusion protection, and then you can build it all up like this. Like you can go next, next. So you can select all the parameters, and it'll tell you all of the parts you need. I'll do a separate one on that because the alarm one's a little bit more to it, and it doesn't have all of the products we have in the UK in there currently. LED selection, that's brand new. I'm going to do a separate video on this LED selection. LED is a very specific section of this where, unless you really want LED, you'd have our involvement anyway, so I don't need to go through. But there is an LED design tool in here. Turnstile selection, again, not really applicable for the UK, although we are starting to see some more requests for these turnstiles. So they are looking at what they can support in the UK, actually, whether it's indoor, outdoor, and again, using a turnstile design tool. Don't forget, this is a global tool. It's not limited by the specific region, but we are looking at what turnstiles we can put in from a Hikvision perspective, and now you can use your tool. You basically put how many channels, barrier material, area width, and it'll help design the area for you and pump out part codes based on your needs. And then video intercom selection, which I'll come back to in a minute. And then storage and video calculator we've already looked at. The one I really want to highlight is this CCTV selection. So you can see that I've already done a couple of quotes previously. We're going to start a new one. So I'm going to start on CCTV selection. And we're going to go to this. So once you've selected the product, the camera selection product, it'll load up all of the cameras. One thing to note is, whatever region you're in, click on this top one here and select that region. It helps to narrow down the camera choice that's available in that region. Now, it doesn't specifically mean to say we can't get that camera, or all cameras will be displayed, but it does try to narrow it down for you based on your region. Now, you can narrow the camera choice down. So if you're looking for something specifically, you can look general cameras, ANPR, customer traffic, indoor, outdoor, telephoto, wide angle, panoramic, normal, field of view, distance to target. You can narrow all of these things down, look, based on your needs, which will help focus the product selection. So if I look at, and you can search by model number, case type, or you can turn environmental. If I look environmental requirements, is all this stuff down here. So I turn it off, and I just want to look for turret cameras, 8 megapixel, lens type, fixed lens, low light imaging, and they've got, say, a color view, illumination distance. Let's go 21 to 50. There it is. It's all narrowed down there, look. So I could specifically pick this one. Details. And it gives you all of the details. So it gives you the details. I can add it to a quote if I wanted. Again, using that sort of built-in quote type function. Tells you all the details, give you the images. It tells you all of the data spec here. You can download the data sheet, the manual. Again, this is where it's really good. Everything is pulled into one common interface. So if you can't find something, definitely try this HikTools designer before you go to your nominated distributor choice, which would normally be DVS, of course. So product documents, it goes straight to it. Structure and dimension. So everything is sort of captured in one place. So it is really cool. And then if I want accessories, I can choose the different wall mounts, pendant mounts, junction boxes, corner mounts, and vertical pole mounts. So I could say I wanted one with a back box, add to list. So I've got one camera, one back box, and then I can change these. I can go through, add all of these different cameras, and export that list. So again, if I just exported the list as it is, bill of materials, open this up. Apologies. There you go, so that's my bill of materials. So I could send that to my distributor to then quote for me. So one of these and one of these. It'd have everything on there, SAP code, part code, etc. You could send that to your customer, you could send it to your quoting department, or you could send it to your distributor, like I said, and they'd be happy to quote you. And I could, again, add 5 of them, but I only need 3 back boxes. And if I go back to product selection, I may need one of this style, and I want 2 of these, or 3 of them even. So added that, and again, export list. And that'll do the latest one. There you go. So a super simple tool, really effective, and it should really help you day to day. So that's the product selection, all the spec sheets, manuals, images, export it to bill of materials. A really super powerful tool. So I do hope people try to really spend the time, get to know it, navigate around it, and start to interact with this. The only way we can interact and improve this is by people using it. They see the demand and then they see the sort of need, the want for the development further on. And if there is stuff that you want specifically open, then please do that. You can even add it where you just see the flag there. You can add the cameras to the storage, and you can really start bulking all this together as a project. So if I go back to the home page, the next one is the map inside of this. So we've done the product selection here, and now I want to look at, so that's CCTV selection. If I go product selection, it's the same thing. So it's a shortcut really, but it's got everything on there. Go back to home. There's a couple of ways to navigate around this. The map is the next one I really want to show you, and that's where it's really been replaced. All of the older stuff has been replaced by this really modernized tool. So first thing we do, click on map. So no projects are in here, so I'm going to add a map first. So the first thing to do is I'm going to cheat. I'm going to go to DVS CCTV map. Okay, allow maps. So let's take DVS's building. This is how I do it, right? There's load, you can import an image, you can do whatever you want on this. It really is up to you. Put it into satellite mode. There's DVS there, so center it. So this is the DVS building. Again, using the snipping tool. There you go. Save it into pictures. DVS HQ1. Save it as a JPEG. Done. Go back to the design tool. You can have a PDF, PNG, JPEG, no more than 10 meg. So we're going to call it new map DVS HQ outside. Okay. Add one in. This one down here. Okay, so that's that done. Load that. Next thing you need to do is scale it. So if you've never used Google Maps, if you don't know the scale, I know the scale of this building, but if you go back to Google Maps, wait for this to reload. Right click. Right, now it's loaded. Right click and you can say measure distance. Now measure the distance from here to here. So I'm going to take the outside profile of the building, and you can see there, if I scroll that way, distance is 51 meters from the front of that building. So I can use that as my scaling now. So I know it's 51 meters. So if I go back to the HikTools designer, simply put that there, and to be safe, I'll put 52. Set scale. That's set the scale for this image now. So let's drag that in sort of the middle there. So when I add a camera, it puts the field of view based on the height, based on the scale that I've just set. So it definitely is worth a while taking the time. Use Google Maps. If it's an outside area and you want to do perimeter protection and it's on Google Map, use Google Map, get the measurement, and then you can put that and set the scale on your drawing here. If you don't know the scale of Google Map, like the building doesn't exist, there will be other ways that you can do that, or use something that's close size to that and just reference that. What you can do then, it's like the JVSG tool. You can put doors, poles, windows, person, vehicle. So I could drop a person or a vehicle in there. You simply add them in and it'll drop them into the map, like poles, doors, lots of stuff. So I'm going to change that. So now we're going to work on this map, and now we need to put a camera in there. So I'm going to go to device. So you can have multiple maps. It's not just one map per project, but I am going to save this as a new project. So I'm going to put DVS external protection. So I can reference it, change it, edit it, amend it, or just delete it later on. So that's fine. And all we're going to do now is go to device. I'm going to there's already a couple of cameras pre-selected from a previous when I did that product selection there, so I could just drop them on if I wanted, or I can go thermal cameras, Minmos, or door stations for intercom. But let's just look at conventional camera. Let's add a conventional cameras. No model. So if I know the camera model, I can just go 2CD 287 87. Oh god, I really am not working well today. Let's choose that one there. Done. So I'm going to drag this one across here. I'm going to put it by this front door. Now sometimes the map does take a minute to catch up with itself. Okay, apologies, it took a minute to catch up there, but I have added the camera here. Look, it has put a field of view on there. I can simply maneuver that or move that field of view. So I want to, let's just say I want to catch that perimeter fence line here, just down there. I can give it a name, so I can put front door looking out, if I could spell. And then on the right hand side, you've got all of the parameters. So you've got corridor normal mode, distance to target. So I'm going to put, let's put 20, 25. Target height 1.7, which is average human height. You can adjust that. Installation height is going to be a little bit higher, 3.5 meters. And then you've got a horizontal normal panoramic, that's fixed. Pixel density, and then some sort of rough representation on a 8 megapixel camera. So you can see that's roughly the field of view that would be captured based on the parameters you've got here. So distance to target, target height, and 3.5 meters installation height. So that's, you can change the color as well. So if I wanted it to be red to stand out, you just select that and it changes the field of view because it stands out nicely. And then if you click that not selected, I can go and choose one of the cameras on there. Go back to that. So you can see this is where it really does start building it back up, and click back on map. It's very interactable. It's very, very easy to interact with. You can also change the background transparency. So if you want it to be faded or less faded using this. So front door looking out, and then if I wanted, I could deploy a thermal. So if I go to thermal cameras, no model, and then I could go DS-2TD is the thermals. Let's look at, let's just choose that one. Let's put that at this end of the building. Again, it will take a minute to catch up with itself to place that on the map. Here you go. It's down there, look. Whiz that round. Put that in the corner there. And you could see, or if I zoom out on the image, you can see there, based on that thermal. So if I click on this camera, you can see, again, change it to that. And you can see the overlay there. So installation height 5 meters, it's more like 3.5. So let's just adjust that. See, it brings it down quite a bit. Installation angle, horizontal angle, and then intelligent parameters. You've got height VCA, which is the built-in VCA function, a human and vehicle. Custom, you can make your own up. Temperature measurement, fire detection or fire, so temperature measurement and fire prevention or fire detection. and then you can put the target widths in there. So you can see this really does build up quite nicely a map. And I could go thermal, car park, detection. Well, I'll do. So you can see they've got 2 cameras on there, and again I can move the map round. You can keep going with this. Again, if I wanted, I could go back and put a camera in there, so I could put two CD. Let's put like a 7C. That one there, like a 8 megapixel dome. Oh, this one. 7A. 2.8. This one. Click on that, add it. Drop that in. So if I add it on a column here, well, I've got a column there actually. Put that as a column. New device. Down here. 7 line high-end VCA. And again, based on so distance to target, we're going to make that 25. Installation height is about 6 meters on that column. Installation angle, we're going to bring that down. That was way too high. About 27, I'd imagine. Yeah. Focal length 2.8 meters, and again, if you do the zoom lens on there, you can see how that affects it as you zoom in. So you get a much narrower field of view. That'll be based on the distance to target as well. So if I wanted, I could actually make that like 35. In fact, I can make it 40, and then if I zoomed it, if I wanted, you can see I'm just playing here. I could capture vehicles as they come through that gate area. Look, just turn that round and have a VCA. You can drag and drop it, you can change it, you can just do that. Just showing you all the different ways you could do it. Pardon me. And do it up to the 12mm, get a much narrower field of view. Look, onto that gate area. And you get the image and effect on there. Really easy to use effectively. And you can keep going, so I'm not going to do a lot more of this. And if I wanted, I can drag a person in there. Measure tools, show, hide, scale, enable DORI. So if I enable DORI on there, it tells you on each camera. If I go enable, oh, it's on there already, look. The DORI's already there, look. When you click on it, it tells you. So it's really easy to use, really powerful. It does take a bit of getting used to. I'm not fully in, like, it does literally take. Now, this normally lets you drop a tree or these tools in here. You can see with the DORI, you've got detect, recognize, identify, and you've got that on every zone. So you can tell using DORI what that parameter will give you based on the installation height, the angle, the resolution, the viewing field of view. Based on DORI, you can really work out whether that will give you exactly what you need for your customers' needs based on perimeter protection. It may be just general overview, but you get the idea. You can really build that up. And when you're finished, now guys, normally this does let you, I don't understand why it's not letting me drag the car, personal vehicle. It does normally, but you can build that up. Like I said, another thing for the list, I guess. When you want to, I've centered it now. When you want to export this, all you need to do then is, it's already saved as a project, so get rid of that. We just want to save it, export this as a project now. So map overview. So click on that little thing, installation report. It tells you each of the cameras there, look. And then export, there's one thing, sometimes when you go to the export, when you go to that little thing where you add the little, I guess like a notepad thing, for some reason, sometimes it won't let you export with the quote ticked. Now, because I've gone through it and added quote stuff on there, it now works. But if you can't, if for some reason on yours you can't export any of this information, just untick that quote there and it should let you export it. But it does let me do it now. So I'm going to choose everything and just click export. It's a very simple design. Click on export. And you'll see up here now. It's still going. There's a lot going on in here now. It's just exporting a lot of data. So I think it's just a web browser, but that's the quote that we did earlier. I can get rid of that. I'll just see that that can go. Right, that's exported now. If I go now, so we've got product selection here. So you've got, so this is the quote we did earlier, which doesn't include, so that's just got the cameras we added. You'd have to add the cameras that you wanted on this system design, if you get me. But that's just the quote we did for the cameras that were separate to the system design. Then you've got your map overview. So you've got your camera placement. Then it tells you where the camera is, installation height, field of view, etc. Some images. Again, more images, more images. So you can export that. That gives you quite a detail. So it gives you a bill of materials or a quote, for instance, plus all the installation parameters. So that's super easy. Even if it was just for an engineer, it'd be nice. And then you go back to show all downloads. And then this is the bill of materials. So you've got the ones that we did earlier. Again, you need to add all of this. So I've just done a map. So I've done it the wrong way around, really. But if you just want to use the mapping tool, that's fine. But you can actually add all of this stuff via the price quote, and it'll build up a whole picture. You get the quote, bill of materials, image, the site, installations. You get it all in one, really. And then the data sheets are not gonna, they're all zip look, but you get the two cameras based on that. And if I go back, so you got the external protection here. That's the one I did earlier. If I go back to the map, what I would do is probably do it the other way around, is put all of those into the quote first and then add it this way round. So where the devices are added here, I would do it the other way round, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So add all of the cameras, add all of the cameras to the quote and etc. and then do the map last. But do it in that flow. But if you just want to use the mapping tool, just do it this way. Add all the cameras to it, export when you go to view report, just go to export here, where you've got the export. My God, I'm going to do it all again now. But where you've got I'll have to go and do it all over again now, because I didn't save it properly. But basically, when you export it, guys, just do the map only side of it. But there are a few quirks of this. Partly the way you navigate it and the way that to link it together doesn't always work that nicely. So there is a lot more work to do with this one compared to the earlier sort of easy to use tool. I mean, it is easy, but you do have to put the work in, unfortunately. But hopefully this has given you a bit of an insight into how this can be used. I have fed a load of stuff back. I have fed a load of things back that need to be updated, changed. There's quite a few little bugs in there. So don't get too frustrated when you do use it. It is new. They will develop it and they will make this a really cool thing to interact with. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going back to bed because I don't feel good. And we'll see you next week for another how-to video. Cheers, guys. Just a quick one, just to go over something again. I probably didn't make that clear. If you do want to edit one, you can just find your project there like this one. Click on it. It will load it. You can go on that side menu here and you can go down to map and report. So if you go back to the map, it will load the map that you've input and you can adjust and edit that. Now, bear in mind, depending on how many cameras you put on there, it's got to overlay all that detail on there again. So it's going to take a couple of minutes to bring all that detail back in there. This will take a lot longer on this laptop because I'm doing OBS as a screen recording. So to do this recording and input all that data will slow this PC up. But again, once you finish with that, you can actually view the report, export. And if you just want to output the map on its own, untick all of these, leave it like that, click export, and it'll just do that map on its own. If you don't want to have all the other detail like the quote, etc., and it'll just put all that detail in there. But it is going to take a minute to do that a second. But you can see the camera choice, map overview, and installation report, they go hand in hand. So when you go back to the home page, start with the product selection and then input, then transfer them to the map. So it's a really logical process. So I did it in the correct way. I just probably didn't explain the map functionality of overlaying them like I did there, but it's still the same principle. I hope you enjoyed the video. There is, like I said, there's some things I need to get changed and improved, but it is a great tool. You just got to spend a bit of time to get used to it. Leave your comments below. Take care wherever you are. See you next week for another how-to video, guys.